There was no school.
Do you consider yourself a feminist?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope.
No.
Not in the sense that's being spoken at this podcast.
Not a blue hair
Not
feminist.
this new wave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm an anti-feminist.
I think that's a little bold. Wouldn't go that far for my personal
Thanks.
taste.
Anaí. You said you want a provider. Sophia, you said you wanted a provider, right? So how do you reconcile being a
I've said
feminist?
this
Hold on, let me
before.
ask the question.
I've said this before.
I'll ask you again though. How do you reconcile being a feminist but also expecting a guy to be a provider and pay for everything and pay for first dates?
Just because I want everybody to have equity doesn't mean I can't have a provider.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not saying like, oh, every woman should label themselves as a feminist. I'm not like this, what she said, like a blue-haired feminist. Like, I very much like, I guess there's that stereotype that feminists like, oh, they don't shave, they're not submissive. But yes, they can be, and I feel like we're both like that.
When you say equity,
Yes.
what do you when you say equity, what do you mean by equity? Do you say we can have equity even though I have a provider and I'm not doing the providing? What's equitable there?
But you don't have to
that's not what I'm
provide to make a
saying.
relationship equal.
Yeah, so
I can
what's
also
meant
have
by
value
equity?
placed on myself by like, oh, I want to raise children or cook dinner at night for my husband. That can also be like providing a lot.
What about
but
that is
not in the same
equitable
sense.
though?
That it should be the same value should be placed on both. You need both to like have a nice running household.
Yeah. It's like,
So do you think that the value of the woman raising children is equal to the value of the man working?
Yes, children are very exhausting. It's extremely
absolutely.
laborious task.
Okay, if she babysits, I was babysitting for a while. I still kind of do babysit. Do you know how much a babysitter gets paid? A lot of money.
About
a lot
$4
of money.
an hour?
No.
How much did he say?
Much
No, it's a lot.
more.
Did he say $12 an hour?
No,
Yeah.
it's
Way
more.
more than that.
Plus, I would get paid extra for cleaning. I would help a lot in the households that I was working in. Do you think the woman is getting paid for that? No, that is hours and hours of unpaid labor.
That's why when you have two full-time working people who have two full-time demanding jobs, they usually have what? A nanny. They have to pay someone to do those jobs that the woman can no longer do because that mother is working a full-time job by raising those
When
kids.
you were babysitting those children, how old were they?
babies and all ages, actually. I've babysat so many ages.
And as children get older, they need less and less attention, correct?
That's a
No.
terrible
I was
thought
watching
process
like
to
a
have.
Not at all.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Not at
No.
all.
You're
I mean,
stuck
if-
with that for 18
You
years.
mean
and
you
then
think a
sometimes
12-year-old
you
needs as
realize-
much
There's
attention
obviously
as
a
an
time where
infant?
your
You wanna
parents
raise
got,
your
like started
child
letting
well.
you stay
Age-
home alone. You know,
it's
yeah.
still
Age
a
doesn't
lot, but
value.
Even
Yeah.
still, you need to be taken care of. You need to be taught. You need
Yeah.
to like
Yeah,
have
yeah.
guidance in
A
life.
12
Yeah, but
girl?
you're sending your kid off to a public school. You're not
Even a
teaching them
teenager
shit.
needs guidance and needs a parent.
Yeah, and
They're
they
not,
do
like,
get guidance, they get a parent, but you outsource most of it by sending them off to a public
for
school.
example, right?
Hang on, let me finish. For most of the day, you send the child off to a public school.
So,
Because
okay,
it's
That's
required.
bad parenting
What
if
work
you're not
are
raising
you
your kid
really
outside of
putting
home.
in?
as an example, right, Andrew? So I want to have at least like 3 kids, right, about 4 years apart. So I might have one kid in full school, but I'm still going to have one kid that needs to be home, right? You might have a kid that's sick one day. You might have a kid that you're taking this kid to soccer practice at this time and then taking him to field trip at this time. And then I want to be like the mom that's like the, not
Like the
PTO.
PTA
yeah, like
PTA mom.
The PTA mom. So I'm going to be there. I want to be making lunch in the cafeteria for my kids. I'm going to be taking
Going
them
on
on
the
their
field
field trips.
trips.
Yeah, that's not, it doesn't
yeah.
just stop once your kid reaches kindergarten. And also you have multiple kids that have multiple, my kids are going to be doing a lot of shit.
What does
so
this
I'm
have
going
to
be
do with my point
that they don't- you don't-
they
you
do
don't-
require
you don't
less
neglect
attention as they
children.
get older.
You don't
neglect
stop-
children once they get to school age.
You don't stop taking care of your kids once
That's
they're
not
in
my
school.
point.
Is my
Let
point.
me reiterate it one more time. Children require less attention the older they get. Yes
That's
or
not
no?
true.
I don't agree. No.
Teenagers
If you're
need
being a
less
good
attention.
parent, then no. Maybe
If
once,
it's-
how many
once
of you
they're
have
out of my
kids?
house, once
Would
they're
you
out of my house, they're
agree?
18. But no, you
And
should.
none of you have children.
No,
Tell
but
me
we
why.
work.
I think
kids.
they need more attention when
The
they're
same
younger.
amount of
I've worked
you
with
you think
children.
That's
you
the
think
stupidest
that a
thing someone
child
can say is that you
between
can't have an
the-
opinion on a kid unless you have your own kid. We were all kids. We all
How
experienced
could you-
childhood.
Not that long ago.
Any
I'm sorry,
baby
but
sisters.
you being a teenager was like years and years and decades ago. But we were
Yeah,
teenagers
how
like
can
what,
you
2 to 3
believe
years ago?
that-
Sorry
yeah,
that
I've
you're an
raised
old
teenagers.
man.
What are you talking about, lady? Listen.
Doesn't seem like you were raising them.
Yeah, it
Obviously
doesn't sound like you're
requires
doing a good
far
job.
more. An infant obviously requires far more attention than a 12-year-old.
Sometimes that's not even true. They take naps for so
What if
much
you-
time in the
No,
day.
you can't leave a baby
You're crazy.
I know,
No,
but
you- but that's
How
like,
could
but
you-
it's taking
okay,
a nap.
if you want
What
to
are
say
doing?
overall, yes.
And
but like,
children
what if
have
you have?
different needs.
I
But
was
it's
a
what he's
perfect.
saying is overall.
I know, but yeah, but you could have a perfect baby, right? It could be the blessing. They sleep through the night, everything, and then
They
an
still would
incident
need more
happens.
attention.
Or what if they need? You realize when they're older that they had autism and you weren't dealing with it. You could have a child forever. What if you have a child with special
thing
needs?
is,
You can't
because
just
exceptions
move
have nothing
to do
every
with it.
time.
But
You
he's
just-
bringing up
well,
this
what if a
point-
meteorite came out of the
He's-
sky and hit somebody? We're not talking about extreme
to say
outliers
that
here.
it's a difference because the man has to go to
Stop
work
it.
forever, and the woman,
Good to
oh,
know.
once the kid's up, it's not the same amount of work and effort. But that's not true all the
like a
time.
24
You never
hour
know.
day.
You can't
need
just
to
say
be there
that.
always.
That's how it's
Kiko,
going to
stop going for the extreme outlier every
not-
time.
not
It's
extreme.
sin. Do you think, generally speaking, that an infant requires more attention than a 12-year-old?
What? Okay, so what do you do in the? Hold on.
Attention, but not
Just
really.
answer the fucking question. How hard could this be?
Answer
Just
the
answer
fucking
it.
question.
Answer
What do you
the
do in the summer then? What do you do in the summer then? So
Oh my God.
I'm gonna
Are you
have that
gonna
12-year-old the whole
answer the
summer, right?
question?
I'm gonna have that baby the whole summer, right? I'm gonna have that 10-year-old the whole summer,
Answer
right?
the question.
I already answered it 3 times. I said fucking no.
Then just say
I said
yes or
fucking
no.
no. I said fucking no like 3 times. I think you need to clean your fucking
then that's
ears.
3 times that you're delusional.
Oh, my
So you're
God.
3 times as delusional as you were the first time you said it. How could you possibly
Jesus
believe
Christ.
that an infant requires less attention than a 12-year-old, 13-year-old,
I didn't say less. I said
14-year-old?
the same.
You're
Less attention.
sending the 13, 14-year-old off, the 12-year-old off to a public school for 8 to 10 hours a day.
Okay,
8
and
to
then
10
you have
hours
to-
a day. The
I
infants
didn't know
are with
public
you
school was
24 hours a day.
365
They
days a
can't
year.
even respond with their
Right.
needs. You have to
And then you
anticipate
ask
what
a
their needs
question
are. They
and then
can't
you don't
verbally
even listen to the
communicate with you.
answer.
Okay.
They can't even tell you what they
Be
need.
with him the whole
Say you do send the kid off to school or whatever. Okay, how long is school? Till 12, or for most kids. And then if they're 4, 5, 6 years old,
No, 12?
yeah, like 12. If they're like 4 years old, that's like the earliest you can send them to a public school. It like gets out at 12. Okay, you pick them up.
Pizza.
You have, okay, and then what? The other kid gets
And
out
then
at
they go to the
1:30.
babysitter usually. Both parents are working, right?
No, not if you're
Not a lot of
Everybody
people
can do
get,
that.
yeah.
One point is this
That was the whole
That's
point.
not-
The
that's
whole
already-
point,
Yeah.
the whole
Dude.
point here, what we're talking about is that the woman is staying home and is the one, the caretaker
Okay,
of the
so
children
the woman
and the
stays home,
household.
and then
she
at
has,
noon,
let me
the
finish,
4-year-old comes
Andrew.
back home.
Let me finish because you're actually pissing me off because you don't know how to just shut up and listen to the girls. Like you
Lady,
think you're
do you
this
think
man.
that I've been
you think
talking
you're this
less than
big,
you?
You think you're this
You've been
big,
interrupting
huge man
more.
that can just interrupt us, and it's getting fucking annoying. Like just shut
Nobody
up.
gives a shit what you think, you stupid scamp.
Whoa, let's be nice.
Answer
No insult.
my
No
That's
insult.
like
No, no, no.
so many times.
Yeah.
Answer my question. I don't need self-righteous indignation. Just
You're
answer the
saying that?
hold on,
How fucking old are you talking
Hey,
to a 21-year-old
hey,
like that?
How old do you be before I call spade a spade?
Banks, Andrew Banks.
Childish
Andrew Banks,
as fuck.
Put your swords away. Put
Yeah,
your
I
swords.
mean,
Listen,
here you are
this is-
spurging at
You're
the top of your
intimidating.
because I
I'm
asked
gonna pull
basic
the same
questions.
shit I
Freak
did
out.
with MLD.
Okay,
You're
guys,
intimidated.
guys, guys.
Just listen to the girls.
Whoa,
the girls
holy
don't even
shit,
make
that
any
was
sense.
fucking high pitch.
This one girl over here
Holy
just got
shit.
done telling me that an infant,
Thank you,
when
AB
it comes
check.
to an infant, they
Thank you, AB
require
check.
less attention.
I never said fucking less. I said the
Hey,
same.
guys.
I never
It's the
said less.
same.
God damn.
And said it 3 times. Made sure to say no 3 times.
Okay, moving
really
on.
listens.
Moving on. That was
I really thought he
eventful.
was
That was
gonna
an
be better,
eventful
too.
conversation.
I'm really disappointed,
Actually.
Going back to Ov Gray
Such
over
a
here.
baby.
My final thoughts
Gray.
on the whole Ov Gray.
Of gray. Like
Of gray.
Of
like
Gray.
OF, but make it sound like a V a little bit.
I don't know. You should maybe you should change your fictional.
It was
name.
actually OF. It was actually OF gray. And people thought that I had an OnlyFans, so I
Yeah,
actually
so
had
it's
to change
of
it to
gray.
OV.
Just say of gray.
Cool story.
Of-
So okay, the whole like feminist, but for the general population, but I'm personally traditional in my own relationship dynamic. It's like modernity when it benefits you, and tradition when it benefits you. So typically, the way that looks is modernity for women, tradition for men.
No.
Men have to adhere to their traditional gender roles, while you guys can continue being modern women, dressing provocatively, doing sex work,
how is it
doing
just
sex
how-
work.
Okay, first of all, she's saying that she
It's
wants,
literally.
she just understands that not everybody wants what she has.
Why-
Some people want
let
that.
her talk.
Because you're not listening to what she's saying. She said it like multiple times, and you guys aren't understanding
Kiko
it.
No,
is
but it's
more-
it's hard for me to wrap my head around it because it's like
That-
again,
Are you jealous?
want
So
you want
she
to
wants
be
other
stop,
women
to have
stop,
that.
Stop, Kika. Let me finish. You want to be a modern woman, when it benefits you, and you want tradition when it benefits you.
But who are you referring to?
All y'all, sort of, kind of?
No, I said I would still be traditional. I would
Wait,
still
but you
be in
said
a
you're like
household
super
with
progressive and
Yeah, I
liberal.
said I'd bow to my
Because
man.
they
But I
understand
like
that
to hang out
they
with
want that,
children.
but those three right there are
I
those
can
three
fix
that
you.
want
Even
that.
said I'd
So
bow.
They
I can fix
Sorry,
you.
it's not the whole.
No, you can't. I'm extremely stubborn.
Wait, what?
I'm extremely stubborn. You cannot.
I can correct
No,
your path.
I think that everything's like.
I'll fix you.
People just do their own thing. If you want to be a certain religion, be a certain religion, whatever. I never said that I wouldn't be traditional. I literally said my job is like raising
I'll get a
children.
bow.
I
One
wanna
of
be
these-
a-
one
I
day
wanna
I'll
be
get a
a
bow.
teacher
I'll
so
get a
I
bow.
can
Okay.
be with like
Here.
my children over the summer.
I was basically raising children until I came onto this podcast. Who
I
made me
really
start
No,
don't-
you're
my
not
goal.
raising children.
Yes, you don't know what the
Taking-
fuck
Wait,
I was
no,
doing.
no, 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 no.
Babysitting kids.
Wait,
You're not
wait.
raising children.
You
You
don't know,
don't know what the fuck I was
doing.
doing.
Yeah,
You don't know what the
dude.
fuck I was doing. So who the fuck are you to
Okay,
say that I know?
raising children. I can't wait to hear
He
it.
was so mean.
I
to
would,
her.
yeah. Bitch,
I
you shut up.
see Latina.
That's a terrible. Yeah, I mean,
I
so
see
many
Nah, you don't know what the fuck I was
It's
doing.
more than
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't know that you were
Wait,
a
guys,
fucking fly on the wall
one
spying
at
my
a
every
time.
fucking
One at a
move.
time. Hey,
Raising
all right, we get it.
Some
we get it.
nannies and
Spicy.
babysitters.
I
are
was
with them
literally
more than
getting
their
called
parents are.
mom.
I need
I
a
was
mallet.
getting called
Give me
mom.
the fucking mallet. Give me the judge mallet. Hold on.
Okay, but
Okay, listen, everyone. Can we please yield to Brian when he's like tries to slow
Yeah, you
things
guys
down?
got a.
Sure.
You guys got.
Brian's having a great time.
I've got my fucking judge mallet here, so if I slam on this, y'all shut the fuck up, okay? I need y'all. Order.
I've been on here like 9 times.
Wait, can
and
you
I've
hide?
Never seen this.
but,
I've-
to answer your
Wait,
question,
hold on.
What's the costume?
What?
What's the
Order in the
costume?
fucking Toxic Podcast Studio. What?
What's the fit about?
Did you like it?
No,
you
I
see
think it
yourself
could be
dating?
better.
Can it not be
Hey.
like
Prince colors,
Could you-
blue and yellow.
So I will tell you guys. I will tell you guys what this costume is. You can bring Andrew back. Bring him back. Okay, there's the mallet. This is a Chilean military uniform.
Why do you have it?
Let's just say I've got connects. in Chile. Listen, I'm a well-traveled man. I'm a well-traveled man. I've been to South America, and I could, now that I have this though, I'm probably barred. I probably can't go
I
to
wouldn't go
Chile,
to Chile.
because you actually, it's only the military is supposed to.
Yeah, how'd you get it?
I think
I
he's scared.
trafficked it.
You probably can't.
No,
Oh.
I'm kidding.
He's like,
So this is a Chilean military uniform. Chile, it's a country in south.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just some people don't know. They might think that's in the Middle East somewhere. Who knows?
God.
Now you might be wondering, Brian. It looks a little bit like a sort of more a Prussian uniform.
Like a
I will.
Nazi?
Excuse me. No. I will say though that Chile, starting in the early 1900s, maybe even the late 1800s, their military was very influenced by the Prussian style of military dress and the way that they kind of organized their military.
Dio41
So-
donated $200.
Oh, he's back.
Andrew, I saw in the comments
What the
that you
fuck,
have
Nick?
5 kids and
Bro, Nick, what are you
homeschool.
doing?
Respect.
Homeschooled kids are always the
best.
weirdest.
Wait, you can film.
I agree.
Tonight,
Kids are the best. But, apparently babysitting them is equivalent to raising them, I guess.
Okay.
I went to
All right,
Catholic
so
school.
going to Avgray here.
Yeah.
You said
No, but to answer your
Wait,
question,
guys.
you said how can you want to be traditional but then want for other women to have the equality of wage and opportunities as
But
men?
let me add to that.
Is that
So
what you're asking?
sort of, but like, so one of the big pushes when it came to feminism, yes, we can talk about like rights bestowed upon you by the government and equal access to various things and the ability to work, although it's not clear to me like to the degree to which women were barred from the workforce and just certain biological realities throughout history and the fact, there's a whole bunch of things there. But even like one of the big pushes that feminism does, it's like, let's do away with gender roles. Gender roles are a bad thing. Men and women are the same. That's a big push from feminism. So that's where I get confused, because it's like, okay, we shouldn't view women in these sorts of ways. And you can say it's all about just from the government down when it comes to rights and stuff. But a big feminist push was we need to view women, not even from a legal perspective, but from like a societal perspective in XYZ ways. But we haven't changed that for men. Like, for example, if you want true equality, there would be, for example, a push for women to, in a dating context, for women to be initiators, for women to make the first move, for women to be willing and prepared to pay for the first date.
There's like a biological reason that that's not the case, though.
Well,
you're putting yourselves in harm's way a lot of the time.
Wait, what?
Well, now that I know what you're
you know
asking,
how common like date rape is?
What the
Now that
fuck?
Sorry, I didn't mean to say that word. But
Okay, go ahead with
know
your
how common
point.
that is?
Go ahead with your
well,
point.
now that I know what you're asking, I think it is absolutely possible for people to be in the same universe as those that want traditional roles and those that might want untraditional roles, and it has nothing to do with quote-unquote biological differences, as you were saying, which I understand that there are biological differences between men and women. Absolutely there are, but I'm just saying that that wouldn't impact my decision making, because in my opinion, and I say this with emphasis, in my opinion.
Okay, hold on. No. Say your opinion, then I got. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No. Go ahead. In your opinion, go ahead.
In my opinion, I think that women are capable of both homemaking as well as being able to provide for a family if they so wanted to, if they have the proper education to. But that was also something that was granted to women later on in history.
Here, let me ask you guys a question. Hold on, I'm going to ask you a question. So, those of you who said that men should be providers and you'd want a guy to pay for you on the first date, will you take your husband's last name?
I will hyphenate.
Yes.
Yes, what?
Yes, I will take my
okay.
last name.
Yeah, I want my family to have all the one last name.
So no hyphenation?
No.
Okay.
Oh, if I get married, absolutely.
Hold on. Absolutely, you'll hyphenate?
No, I'll absolutely take his last name.
Okay.
Yeah, I would take it.
Yeah.
The microphone could be closer, but...
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, I will be taking my husband's last name.
All right, okay, well. Just you?
I'm about the family unit.
Yeah.
I would have been
Here.
down, but my mom did that, and my parents ended up getting divorced. So I'm
All
like,
right.
"No, I'm just gonna
I'm just gonna drop my middle name.
Here,
I have a. close
Andrew, do you
identity to my
have
last name.
anything on this on this?
On which
On
on which topic?
Like the feminists, but also traditional thing?
Yeah, well, it's always curious to me. That's why I was kind of drilling in earlier on the idea of rights. So when you're talking about feminism, you should make a notation that most men also in the United States couldn't vote. Almost no men could. Suffrage was something which came later. It was not a foundational principle. And I'm trying to figure out why it is that you think women's liberation is so great. Why do you think feminism is awesome?
Because they got us here to where it is, to where we are now.
Men did.
And
Yeah, but good for
So
those
then,
men.
so then why
There
do
was still
women?
feminism.
Why do so many women
The men made the
complain
decision, but-
today about not having equal rights to men?
I'm not complaining.
We're
I'm
not
s-
complaining.
yeah.
I know that
no,
you're
we're
not
just wanna keep it
complaining,
that
but I'm
way.
just-
Yeah.
We're not saying that we're complaining. We're saying that we are in support
have that conversation
of
with
that,
a different type of feminist.
Yeah, that, you
but
guys are
not-
looking at the blue hair
yeah.
feminists. That's not what
Yeah,
they are. So
that's
it's
not what
not.
we are.
No, I think it's the same type of egalitarian principle. So I think the first and second wave led to the third and fourth wave, and that the principles are in essence the same. So
I'm
I
not
don't
looking
think
up
that there's
feminist
this massive
principles on
distinction
Wikipedia.
between fourth and third wave feminism to first and second. I don't think that it's just about voting. I think it's about a move towards these kinds of egalitarian principles, which I largely reject.
I think most of the feminists that I know are more of like, I don't see myself as equal to a man. I know obviously he's stronger than me and there's a lot of differences between us biologically. It's more of so that women wanted the option, if they wanted to have their own education or be by themselves or go 50-50, that's the whole point, is it just to have that option. Because before you had no choice but to get married and have kids with a man, and then if it went south, there was no escape for women. That's what most women are when you think about
There
feminism.
still is an escape for women. Like this is the bad
No,
part
now
of
she could be
feminist
by herself
propaganda.
and get divorced and
No,
start
none
her
of
own.
that's true. This is the bad part of feminist
And I've said
propaganda.
this
is
so
that
many
what you're-
times when I've been on this podcast, when they ask me like, oh, like what does a feminist mean to you? It means doing whatever the fuck you want to do without
Right,
society.
that sounds right.
Without society, without society being like, okay, well, you're not a traditional woman. You're a crazy cat lady. No, fuck that. Like, I don't want anybody to have that fucking shit.
Right, you want to just be able to do whatever the fuck you want.
Yes,
right?
period. Thank you, Andrew. You finally
You're not
listened.
hurting yourself.
There are
That's why you're
consequences to your
freedom. You should
actions,
have that
though.
freedom.
There are
Yeah,
consequences
but
to your
the only person
actions.
that suffers those consequences is the person that does the action.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Is
My
that moment to the
consequences.
mic?
What is my consequence for like defining myself as a feminist?
Well, it's not just the feminist label. It's having, how do I say this? If you are about like the sexual liberation thing and having multiple, like all these partners, there are consequences to that. It's just,
Yeah, it leads
the only
towards,
person that
she actually is
suffers
making a good
Yeah.
point here.
That's like
This leads
none-
towards societal decay.
That's it's
How?
not my business what other people
mean,
do
look
with
at
their
our
body. If
society.
they want, not me personally, I wouldn't be sleeping around. But if another person wants to be sleeping around and call it liberation, then to hell with that. They can do whatever the fuck they want to do. I'm nobody to be like, oh well, you're a whore for fucking wanting to sleep with 10,000 people. What?
But what's
what
wrong
is
if
my
somebody
opinion?
does call them that?
is by
Why is that problematic in your worldview?
Because
'Cause it's mean?
Yes, thank you, Andrew.
So for
thank
me,
you.
I don't care if
doesn't
they
really
get called
do
a whore, but it's just the fact that they have the right to do
solve
it.
any issues.
Like you're a whore, yes, you're a whore. That's a whore. It
You
is.
don't
It is
think
true,
that
but they have the right to
social
do it.
shaming and
Is the thing.
social stigma solves issues?
It's not going to
doesn't
solve
solve
anything.
issues.
It solves nothing.
Andrew,
Andrew,
social
what do you
stigma has
gain?
solved tons of
What do you
problems. What are you
gain?
talking about?
Let me ask you, what do you gain from coming on here and calling me a skank? Do you gain anything? Do you get a little pat on the back? Do you get a
part
cookie?
of the way. So what happens is, what you have to do, unfortunately, in the modern society that you're dealing with, where there's tons of decay, is when somebody hits you, you have to hit them back harder. That's the way it generally seems to work, unfortunately. Now, if you had behaved yourself, been a good girl, I wouldn't have had
Don't
to
call me
have,
that.
you know,
Do
called you
not
what I
call
called
me
you.
that.
But instead, you had to mouth off and be a bitch, so I just kind of talked to you like I talked to you, right? That's how it works.
Do you think, let me ask you.
Let's not insult, guys, let's not insult
do
people.
you think
Not insult people. He got up here and
Do you
called.
No, that's what I'm saying.
He called
Don't-
moms against drunk driving dumb broads.
Wait,
like,
what?
Yeah.
He
They
called
were,
moms
well, I
against
mean,
drunk
but they
driving
were
dumb
being dumb
broads.
broads when they did that.
Sir,
right?
I'm going to tell you something, okay?
Grieving mothers. Grieving
Okay.
mothers.
You're coming from a place of great insecurity.
No, it sucks that you have
yeah,
so good
how
behavior like
profound.
this.
Yeah,
You-
I've never met an adult. I work for men that are probably the same age, probably even younger than you, and I've never had them call me a dumb skank.
They don't
I
or
know,
anything.
but
They
the
treat me
problem
with
is
respect.
that's my whole
They
problem.
treat me with
see. It's-
respect, and I've never
It's
come.
societal
Let me
stigma.
finish.
If
I've never
societal
once.
stigma existed,
You
then women
feel-
would
you
have much
felt-
better behavioral patterns in society.
So
That's
just
what I
because
advocate
I didn't
for.
behave the way you wanted me to behave, I am therefore a skank. That to you,
No,
that makes
that's not
sense in
what
your
makes you
head.
skank.
Your frontal lobe is fully developed, sir.
The fact
and
that you're
over
the fact
here
that you're for
calling a
sexual
20
liberation
you're
and
calling
skankery
a
is what makes you
21-year-old
skank,
girl
not
a
because of
skank.
anything else.
You're calling a 21-year-old girl a skank. Like, are you gonna call your
Would it make it
21-year-old
better if
daughter
you
a
were 41
skank?
years old?
Would you like it if a fucking man called your 21-year-old daughter a skank? Do you think that's
If
the
she was
way?
being a skank, it would be the best corrective
You're
reasoning he
fucked
could
in
do.
the head. You're fucked in the head. You are not a good father, and your children are gonna grow up to hate you.
It just sucks because you sometimes do have some
My
good points, but when you talk like
have
this to people, they will never.
I have children
everything
who are
else you say
older
is
than you. They
negative.
don't hate me. I'm
Like
sorry.
you could say the most
do you
intelligent
think my-
thing, but if
I
He's
would
trying to help you guys.
trying to help me by not calling me a
To
skank.
wake you up.
Well, the problem
Wake
is,
me up
is
from
like
what?
you've been as combative as you
Possibly
can possibly be. If I hit back, you cry. It's like, where's your feminism? Where's your
why-
awesome why you whine? Instead, why don't you have a nice
Wait.
productive debate instead of whining incessantly?
Because you're over here
Hey.
putting insults. And
The
they're not-
gavel has come down. I've stricken the gavel. Okay. All right. There we go. Nice. He needs a little smoke break. Andrew, we'll give you a smoke break. Okay?
Yeah.
Damn,
We're
he's
giving
smoked
Andrew a
cigarettes
smoke
throughout-
break.
Are you indoors? Are you indoors where your
He's
parents stay?
chain-smoking.
You
Or
guys,
kids stay, or is it
he's
a different
chain
house?
smoking. Actually,
my
here's the
dad
reality. Andrew used to never smoke before he came on the Whatever podcast, but it's so stressful for him to be having these kinds of conversations.
I would believe that.
I might have to start smoking too.
Do you work out of a studio, or are you smoking inside the house where you're?
He smokes inside because he's a
Where your
giga
kids-
chad.
I was smoking right next to my kids. I blow it in their fucking faces.
Yeah, I wouldn't fucking doubt it.
Now that's good parenting. All
Please,
right.
someone cut that one up.
All right.
Yeah.
Cut that and put that on TikTok.
Yeah.
God-fearing man.
Yeah.
Like, it just, I get your point with some things.
He goes over to the
connect.
cradle. He goes over to the cradle. And he,
After he robs it.
Puts his cigarette out on him.
whoa, 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 whoa,
It
whoa.
was a joke. It was a kidding. It was a kidding. It was handed to me.
My
It
mom
was handed
accidentally
to
put a
me.
cigarette